All right, good morning. Hi, seventh grade. Well, it's morning for me. I guess it's morning for you too, probably. We are doing 5-4 today, which is applications of percent. Okay, applications of percent. So now that we have learned two different strategies of solving percent problems, we're going to find out when we use them. And probably of anything that I teach in math, percent stuff is definitely stuff that is most like real life stuff. Some of you always ask, when are we going to use this? Like this one you really use all the time. And I think people don't even necessarily realize how often we use percents in daily life. So that's what we're going to do for this one. You are going to need some colors. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 4 colors today. We're going to try to cover a lot in a little time because that's what I have. I'm morning care today and I've got Anna coming. So I'm here early already. So we're going to try to pump through this if we can. So the first one we're going to do in a color is how to find sales tax. Okay. So write sales tax in your color, okay? And how we do that is this formula, we're also going to write this in the color. So the amount that I'm going to pay in sales tax is going to be the tax rate, which is going to be your percent. I'm putting that in parentheses underneath it. That's your percent. Okay, what percent is the tax rate? And times the price, okay, of whatever you're buying. Okay, so that's kind of my formula for sales tax. All right, so that's what we're going to use. We're going to do an example next to show how we use it, but I wanted to get the formula in color. Okay, all right, so example 1 is a sales tax. So you use this every time you buy something, except for food at grocery stores. But everything else, there's a sales tax. I forget what it is in New York State. It's close to 10%. It's like 9 point something percent. So every time you buy something in New York State, you pay 9% above what the price is, and the state keeps that money. And that money is supposed to be used to pay government officials and to fix roads and to pay for schools. Like, maybe not schools, but all that stuff that the state pays for, snow plows and things. Yay, snow plows, Nicholases, get paid for with that sales tax money, all right? So, example 1, the price of a bicycle you plan to buy is $159.99. The sales tax is 6%. How much will you pay for the bicycle? So let's use our formula. So we're trying to find the sales tax. We don't know what it is, so that's going to be our X. I'm going to change this in the formula to a dot maybe, because some of you are still getting the multiplication symbol and the X messed up. So let's change that. That's what we're looking for is our sales tax. The tax rate, it said, is 6%. Now, I'm going to add something else under this formula. Remember, you're putting this in an equation, not a proportion. So you have to write it as a decimal. So a 6% sales tax would be 0.06 times the price of the bicycle was $159.99. Okay, so when I do that formula, and you can plug that into your calculator, you're going to get, this is going to be $9.60. And remember, this is money. This is money, so you have to round it to 2 decimal places. So if you have more than 2 decimal places, you just have to round it, so you only have 2. Okay, so this is $9.60 is the amount I pay in sales tax. So when I buy this bicycle, I have to pay for this for the bicycle and this for the sales tax. So let's look back at the question, because is the question saying how much do I pay for sales tax, or is the question saying how much do I pay in total? The question is saying how much will you pay for the bicycle? So what I'm going to pay is I'm going to pay $9.60 plus $159.99. That's what I'm going to pay in total. When I get up to the cash register, that's the money they're going to ask for. So that's $169.59 when you add those up. So that's what I'm going to pay for the bicycle. So this was really a 2-step problem, okay? I had to find the sales tax, and then I had to add the sales tax to the original price. So be careful when you do those. You got to look really closely. We talked about this in class yesterday when we were playing that Kahoot. Sometimes these become 2-step problems, so you really have to be aware of what your question is, okay? All right, you are going to pause the video. You are going to try quick check 1, and then you are going to turn it back on. Okay? All right, find the total cost for a purchase of $185 if the sales tax rate is 5.5%. So we're looking for the sales tax first, okay? The tax rate, which is my percent, is 5.5%. So remember, I have to move the decimal twice. Okay, so 0.055, and my cost of my item is $185. Okay, so when I multiply those two together, I have my calculator, Andrew. It's going to be 0.055 times 185 is going to be $10, and let's put this up here because I want to talk about this. 175 is what that equals. Okay. I'll put the X equals over here. Okay, now this is money, so I can't move it like this. And some of you are still really struggling with this rounding. Here's my money. It has to be 2 decimal places. So is the 5 big enough to make that round up? Yes, it is. So really, $10.18. Okay, now I have to add that back to the 185 because that was the original cost of the item. Okay, so because they're asking the total cost, not just what did I pay in sales tax. Okay, so that's going to be $195.18. Don't forget that $sign. Okay, so that's what I'm going to pay. That's quick check 1. Okay, all right. Now you need another color because we're going to talk about how to find the tip. Okay, so if I'm eating out in a restaurant and I want to know how to find the tip, what I need to do to find the tip, the amount of the tip is going to equal the percent, of course, written as a decimal, times the cost of your meal or your Uber ride or whatever it is you're tipping. Okay, your haircut. Okay, because those are all service positions that usually get tipped. Okay, so there you go. There's my formula. So you can go back to using your pencil. And this in your textbook, they talk a lot about example 2 about how to estimate a tip. We'll talk a little bit about that on our second day with this lesson. But for now, I just want to figure out how do you figure out a tip. And honestly, most places now list it for you, choose how much of a tip you want to give. But I think it's still important to be able to know where that amount is coming from and how this process works. Okay, so example 2 says your family takes a taxi to the train station. The taxi fare is $17.85. Estimate a 15% tip to give to the driver. We are just going to figure out what a 15% tip would be. So my tip is going to equal 0.15 because I have to write that as a decimal times my taxi cost, which is $17.85. Okay. All right, so that tip, 0.15 times $17.85, because we're not estimating like the book says. And that's going to be 2.6775 is what my calculator says. Remember, this is money. I can only have 2 decimal places. So here's my second place. Here's my 7 next to it. Is that big enough to round up? Yes, it is. Here's my tip. And this question specifically said to find the tip, not the total cost. So if it said the total cost, I would add that tip to the $17.85. I do have to stop now. My little pre-K, little morning care person is here, but I'll do a part 2 when I get her situated. Okay? All right. So what I want you to do while I'm taking care of that is do quick check 2, but instead of estimating the tip, just actually do the process like we just talked about. Okay? I will be back in part 2.